Hello, Oofie here. I am here to give you my genuine nuclear take on Zenless Zone Zero. So, yes, I am VTuber mode, but it is what it is. Anyway, so, everyone wants to compare Zenless Zone Zero to other games, and I don't think that's right. It's really hard to compare Zenless Zone Zero to other newer gacha games because it's just different. It's made differently, it has a different focus, and it's obviously a very niche type of gacha game. There are a lot of different types of gacha games. For example, Cookie Run is a gacha game, and it's a great gacha game, but not a lot of people talk about it or use it as a comparison because it is not comparable to games that like Hoyoverse makes. Not a lot of people make content about Cookie Run, but that doesn't mean it's not a good game. It's just niche. I think comparing games to decide if they're good is not a great way to rate them. Nowadays, if a game is good, it's often being compared to another game. People conclude a game is good or bad based on that comparison and not on the actual game's merits. And that is not how we should be determining whether a game is good or not. It should be based on critical thinking and criteria like combat, lore, storytelling, music, rather than just comparing it to other games that probably aren't even the same type or focus. Once you start comparing games, it becomes more about which game is better, rather than evaluating the pros and cons or providing an actual review. This often leads to drama, with content creators having differing opinions turning into drama, where one creator is labeled a shill and the other is just a hater, or it's said that this creator is just jumping on the hate train, and blah 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 blah. It's all really fucking stupid in my opinion. I hate seeing friends and like good friends and peers argue and get upset and mad at each other over opinions on a fucking video game. A lot of the time it's pretty civil and resolved within the day, but lately I have been noticing that it has just been nuclear lately, and it's annoying, to be honest. As a 30-year-old, I'm too old for this drama, middle school drama type bullshit. Anyways, I genuinely like Zenless Zone Zero. I think a lot of people don't understand its structure and what the developers ultimately intended for it. Yes, it's easy at first, but you're not even out of the tutorial until level 23. The same thing happened with Honkai Impact 3rd. It starts really slow because they want you to get used to the combat and mechanics before reaching in-game. A lot of people are also saying things like, the characters are bland, there's no distinction between S ranks and B ranks, and blah blah blah. It was the same with Honkai 3rd, but once you progress in the story and game, the lore deepens and you learn more about the gear and the higher level equipment connected to the lore, like the Hershers and the Divine Keys and stuff like that. You'll start to see in-game then. They want you to get the basics down first before introducing more intricate gear and characters. Right now, we're just dipping our toes in. Zenless Zone Zero is still at the surface level. In Honkai 3rd, the meme is true. The in-game starts at level 81. I believe Zenless Zone Zero will follow a similar structure regarding when the in-game begins. Everyone's saying that it's too easy, needs to realize that we're not even close to endgame yet. Honkai 3rd was slow initially and tortured you with early game Bronya and Himiko combat, but once you got used to the Hershera Void, it was like a whole new ballgame. We didn't even get a taste of the endgame until like chapter 17, 18, but anyways, I think Zenless Zone Zero is going to be the same. They're doing it differently than Genshin and Star Rail because it's niche. It's going to get a lot of hate because people aren't used to that structure. However, every Honkai 3rd player who has played Zenless Zone Zero has said that they felt at home in Zenless because they're used to that structure. This isn't even about the literal combat mechanics, but how the game is structured and focused. I think because people have the TikTok attention span of a goldfish, they expect Star Rail or Genshin type stories and gameplay that are immediate. No waiting for in-game. You can go straight to building characters and challenges with a new character every 2 weeks that benches the last one and the meta power creep. People are just so used to that, they forget that some games take things a little slower and put more thought into the lore behind the mechanics and things like that. There's more build-up to the in-game that helps raise the stakes. I think Zenless Zone Zero will get a lot of hate because people are just not used to this type of structure, but I also think that there will be a lot of hardcore Zenless Zone Zero players who will keep up with it. The Zenless Zone Zero devs have even said that they want it to be a game where people can play, stop playing for a while, and then come back when there's new content and still play effectively. I love that because as someone who doesn't have a lot of time for all the gacha games out there, I like being able to drop a game for a month and then pick it back up without feeling like my account or characters are outdated. A lot of people say that there's not a lot of content or the story is boring. Having played the betas, I had already seen the first few chapters up until the Hollow Zero stuff, so I skipped through the story until I reached the new content. I've been playing a couple of hours a night, even skipping the story. At level 23, without doing the main story, there's still plenty to do. Side commissions, walking around the city, talking to NPCs, grinding, farming, a lot. For the lore, I think they are easing us into it rather than overwhelming us with a bunch of gibberish. There is lore if you pay attention. Zenless Zone Zero is combat focused, which means it's going to be a very character focused game. Most of the content will be grinding and farming. I don't see it being like Star Rail or Genshin with new events or mini games like literally every week. Zenless Zone Zero is combat oriented, which means you'll be farming, you'll be grinding, with a new story chapter every month or so. Another misconception is, if their target demographic is kids, then why do they sexualize the characters? But I don't believe Zenless Zone Zero is targeting kids. I think their demographic is probably the group of 20 to 26-year-olds on Twitter, Tumblr, who are super into shipping discourse and parasocial relationships with fictional characters. Adults, unfortunately. As a side note, I really don't like the trope of the ambiguous-looking characters who turn out to be children, which Hoyoverse famously loves to do. As a 30-year-old who is 5 feet tall and has a small build, it would be great to get a character with my body type who isn't a fucking child. Anyway, I love Zenless Zone Zero for what it is, not for the same reasons I love Star Rail or Wuthering Waves. I am only level 23 and currently doing the Soldier 11 quest, so I'm not that far into the game, but I do keep coming back to Zenless Zone Zero every day. I feel like I'm not doing much in the game, but it is fun. I think it will be a great side game, and I'll probably play until my characters are maxed, then take a break and focus on other games, and picking up Zenless Zone Zero again when a new story chapter releases. But those are my thoughts and opinions on Zenless Zone Zero, so please leave your opinions in the comments below, and please be nice.